What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Gonna have to keep an eye on my app is acting kind of funky. The app that I use to change scenes and whatnot for the show, basically the buttons I push. Once in a while it gives me a fit, and it's really acting strange tonight, but I'll just keep an eye on it. Another fun day of news coming in, involving the different countries, and I don't know, I guess I could say they're posturing. Of course, Putin had a big speech. I am actually glad that it's not as bad as it could have been, although there were several things said that aren't good. It certainly isn't as bad as it could be. I mean, I'd rather hear him announce that they're getting out of the START treaty than what I would that they're actually declaring war on Europe or NATO. Or it's not good, but it's not as bad as what it could have been. And that was my biggest concern, that the big announcement was going to be direct conflict between the nations. Thankfully, that wasn't it, at least yet. Other than that, I mean, that's kind of what has taken the main stage today in news. I mean, I guess it depends where you follow your news. I mean, U.S. news, anything involving a train or anything like that, it doesn't matter how little the incident is, they're all over it. It's kind of crazy, because all you got to do is look up National Transportation Safety Board. They keep records of all that stuff. All you got to do is look up, on average, how many, train derailments, for instance, there are a year. And I already did that. Already took that walk. Not going to take it again. It was enough that there had to have been multiple train derailments every single day of the year to be able to hit the number. So, the sad thing is mainstream media's got alternative media doing it. It's ridiculous. I don't know any other word to put on it. It's ridiculous. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And I just don't get how, it's one thing if it's CNN or if it's MSNBC, because they've got a massive input keeping them going. They've got ways to stay in front of people's faces that they can keep people believing their nonsense. How in the hell are these YouTube channels doing it? I mean, I am fearful, and I mean these words, exactly these words. I am fearful that there could be that many people that gullible. It is what it is. I am fearful of that. I come possibly from a different cut of cloth, but I certainly come from a different time period. I'm not saying I'm a time traveler. I'm just saying I'm Gen X, and I think there were a lot of things that ended with Gen X. In fact, I think some of those things actually ended before Gen X. Gen X just got to experience a little bit of it, like the sitting in the front yard talking to the neighbors in lawn chairs thing, which was a very common thing. That was on its way out when I was on my way up. So I can remember a little bit of it, and then that's it, boom, gone. Those things are actually pretty important. And largely due to entertainment, of course, internet included. People have many more options when it comes to spending their time. And for whatever reason, I guess we don't choose the option of spending time with each other. I guess. I don't know how that works. And then it seems in society, in many cases, if you make a plan to spend time together, you got to be doing something senseless. What do I mean by senseless? Now, this is going to make me a favorite, but I don't know. Watching sports? Pretty frickin' senseless. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Here's a thought. Whatever the hell sport it is, go get you a ball. Go get you the proper shoes and whatever kind of shorts you need. And get a hold of your buddies and go play the sport. You get a big thumbs up from me on that. But to sit on your ass and watch it on the TV, stuffing your face full of food and your brain full of trash, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna stand up and give you a high five for that. Sorry. Not gonna happen. Unfortunately, back to what I was saying, even even alternative sources of information. It's a game. Who can make the scariest title, the scariest thumbnail? It's like a game. And it's insane. It is insane. And I've said this multiple times, and I'm going to keep saying it. I thought it's like I debated with myself. Do I drop this or do I push forward with it? No, I'm pushing forward with it. Because the most important thing to me is that people have the correct information. And the louder and louder and louder these other individuals get out there and run around like bulls in china shops, the more damage is being done. You get people focusing on things that they shouldn't need to be worried about. You get things, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Get people so wound up and worked up over little bitty picture stuff that they totally lose sight of the big picture stuff. I'm concerned that people aren't going to have an adequate warning when the shoe really does drop. And, like I've said previously, don't expect that we're just waiting for one big, massive, major event. Like, for instance, nukes dropping. I really don't think it's going to happen like that. I think it's going to continue the way it has been the last 3 years, incrementally getting worse. And I think you're going to have some bad moments when major events happen. But I think everybody's waiting for, I don't know, maybe City Hall to put up the SHTF flag or something. I don't know. Again, I've got a big issue with a lot of the quote unquote, well, no, not quote unquote, they're content creators. It's just some of the content's absolute bullshit. They're content creators. Man, be careful. Because I see so much freaking misinformation out there, and with the whole nuke thing, now the EMP thing is making its rounds everywhere again, and the amount of misinformation is astounding. Absolutely astounding. I'm going to tell you the big secret. I'm going to tell you the big secret about EMPs. You know the secret? Nobody knows. And anybody that tells you that they know are full of shit. Period. Because we don't know. It's never been tested. We kind of really can't test it without doing it. And, well, I don't think that's worth checking out. I mean, more power to you. Just please go somewhere the hell else. But there's only one way to know exactly what the effects of an EMP would be. Because we can't recreate this bullshit that they're doing in these, in these labs. That is not an EMP. It is, I'll say it real slowly. It is not an EMP. And so, therefore, anybody that claims that they've got something that has been tested in EMP conditions and they can tell you that whatever, full of shit. You can't get any more clear than that. There's never been a test. There is only one way to have the test. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. Because I personally know people that's gone out and spent fortunes on stuff that's useless. People that because of that didn't have the money to invest in the food, because come on, let's face it, we all hit the food last. Us included. We're not any different. Same way. The particular individual I'm thinking about, it's really a sad, disturbing story. They wound up losing everything. I mean, of course, it wasn't all because they bought the wrong prepping stuff first, but to be honest, it would have probably, their trials would have probably gone a little bit easier if they hadn't have done that. And I don't like seeing people make those mistakes. And when you get, again, I'm going to say that word and I'm going to be very literal, content creators, because that's all the hell they are. When you get them that put people on the wrong path, have people that are purchasing the wrong things. See, they don't, it's bull in the china shop mentality. One of them literally does it. Fuck him, right? More than one of them actually does that. No regard at all. No regard, no self-accountability. And it pisses me off. I don't know. I guess I wasn't raised like that. I was raised that when you talk to somebody about something, you talk from a place of knowledge. You don't just talk to be the guy in the room that knows. I don't know. It's just frustrating. Because this stuff's important. And it's extremely important that we get correct, timely information because of how rapidly any one of these things could change. But now we're going on. Are we going to go a full third week of East Palestine, Ohio? And any other train that has a mishap? I don't know. It's just messed up. I never ever in my lifetime would I ever thought that I would have ran into a time that I would be absolutely persecuted for telling truth. And demonized for trying to be fair and equal. Anyway, I mainly got tabs related to what's going on, Moscow, or, well, Russia. I hate saying Moscow, I don't know why, but China, Russia, that's pretty much all of it, I think. Well, throw Serbia in there, but it's all for the other stuff. I don't think that the situation between the nations, the ones I mentioned, China, Russia, U.S., I don't think that it's going to be a real long time before things start to get really sticky. We have been watching a posturing of nations for, I don't know, more than a year. I mean, the posturing started before Russia moved in on Ukraine, so we've been seeing the posturing for quite some time, but since the invasion of Ukraine, we have really seen the posturing, and I think that we're starting to see what the true sides are going to stack up like. And I think, hell, there's been a couple of surprises for myself, to be honest. And not all these countries, I don't think, have really made up their minds yet. I think some of them are holding out to see which nation is going to offer them the better package deals, right? That's how that often works. In fact, the United States was just showing off the F-35 in India. Why? Well, because they want India's loyalty, because that would be one hell of a feather in the cap for the United States. Here's the other thing. If those folks in India are cruising around in F-35s, all that data that those F-35s are collecting, which is a whole hell of a lot of data. If there's one damn thing that plane is good at, it's collecting data. That's the only frickin' thing the F-35 is good at. It's collecting data. That's it. That plane, you wanted it to fly? Bullshit. No luck. It collects a lot of good data, though. Right before it slams you into the earth. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. I have to joke about it. It's not that bad, and it's getting better. I mean, and I hate to laugh because, of course, some of the incidences involve loss of life, and that's absolutely tragic. But to see how this aircraft has erred in the past, I mean, I'm looking at it. I don't understand all the technology behind it, obviously, but I'm looking at it going, how in the hell could they get that wrong? I mean, that's it. I mean, literally, the damn thing, hovering it, trying to come down the land, and the damn thing just go boom and flip over on its top. Just boom. I mean, just for nothing. Now, how did they get that wrong? I mean, do they need to, I don't know, get a hold of DJI, find out how to do a landing? No, it's just strange. But that's what we're seeing, and we're seeing, I think, the last of the countries as far as picking their sides and stuff. I think we're going to have some last minute switch ups. I think we're going to have some countries side with Russia that I think some people are suspecting might at this point. I don't know. In my opinion, I think Germany might. I think Italy might. I don't know. We'll see. Macron seems to be awful Putin friendly. He really does. Germany kind of really wants their energy back. So we'll see what happens. Bring you on over. I've got, 6 tabs open, I guess. China-Russia relations rock solid, says Beijing. And in my opinion, I think it's notable that they're making statements like this. Let me read the article real quick, or part of it. It says Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said on Tuesday that the bond between the two countries was strong and stable during his visit to Moscow. The diplomat met with Russian Security Council Secretary Nikolai Patrushev to discuss mutually beneficial cooperation in all fields. China-Russia relations are mature in character and rock solid, able to withstand the challenges of the volatile international situation, Wang stressed. He added that the countries were ready to defend their national interest and dignity. You see that this is how leaders speak. This is how leaders speak. We're out there like, well, you know the thing, man. Come on. You know the thing. Who's got my ice cream? Ashley, you ready for a shower? I mean, you know what I mean? It's that bad. It is literally that bad. I mean, I know I just made a joke. You know how incredibly disturbing it is that I could have cracked that joke just now? Hell, we're all so desensitized on some levels, it's unreal. I mean, let's go back 40, 50 years. Let me tell that joke then. There are some ways where we got overly sensitive, and in other ways we got desensitized, and it's like, it's the opposite things, you know? And things we're desensitized about, we should probably be a little bit more on edge about, and the things that we hear people crying about all the time, probably things we shouldn't be focusing on. I don't know. Anyway, Patrushev responded to Wang by saying the relations between Moscow and Beijing had inherent value and were not swayed by outside trends. He added that a strategic partnership with China was a priority for Russia as both countries were devoted to creating a more just world order. According to Wang, The two countries, as members of the United Nations Security Council, are responsible for keeping the peace on the planet. I would agree. I think it's the responsibility of every nation on the planet to keep peace and to promote peace, That's why I say it, there's a lot of people that jump on a side, like you take Russia, Ukraine, a lot of people jump on, they got to let you know who it is that they're rooting for. I ain't rooting for either one. Last I checked, killing people is wrong. I don't know. I don't know. I'll go check it. I'm pretty sure, though, my Bibles have not been affected by the mandala. They're good. They're good. Insane. Anyway. So I told you, didn't I say that this was, I think I said that this was going to happen real quick. Did I not? Just yesterday, I believe. Or it might have been the day before. I said that Xi Jinping was going to be making a trip to Russia real quick. And he's also going to be making an announcement about an aid package real quick. I'm at a loss. I am completely at a loss at how our nation's leadership I don't get how a leadership of a nation can act so childish. I can't believe that there's enough people in our government, 530 some odd, correct? It's why I come out harsh against voting. Because there's only a couple people at any given time that really comes out passionately against stuff in Congress. Most of them get wrote off as whack jobs. You take people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and yeah, she's half a whack job. But she makes a lot of damn good points, and she talks about a lot of good, important topics. It is what it is. There's only a handful of individuals in Congress that will stick their necks out like that and will stand out like that. And let me tell you something. That is just a frickin' show. We have no one that we can rely on in our government. No one. No one. Because if we did, they would not stop screaming and getting people together. If I had a platform like that, and if I made it into the Senate or I made it into the House, you better damn well believe that from day one I would be organizing the biggest damn group of people to ever exist in this country as a group of people. And I guarantee you that these 530 some odd idiots would be able to listen. Again, I've asked this question 1,000 times. How come The same rules do not apply. If we do something stupid, if we do something shady, we have to pay consequences. We pay consequences in a negative way. What the hell, man? These people can take up public office and not just screw up. Not just screw up, but literally sell you down the river. Not a consequence. Media is all up in arms over what happened in East Palestine, Ohio. Yeah, think anybody from the companies, you think from the train company, you think anybody is going to go to jail for that. How come the rules are different? How come companies like Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Monsanto, Bayer, I mean, it could go on and on and on and on. How come they never have to pay consequences? How come Big Energy is in everybody's face right now talking about their record profits, while the average household of multiple nations were absolutely stripped of the ability to pay bills due to the higher cost of food, due to the high cost of energy? Now, if you owned a gas station and you marked up your cost of gas a little bit during some type of event or something like that, and so that you could make a little bit more money, you would damn well be charged, and rightfully so, with price gouging. But these big corporations, you mean to tell me that Shell can't be charged with price gouging? Exxon can't be charged with price gouging? No. Just Philippe at the local 7-Eleven. That's it. Like I've said, since long before I ever even started doing this show, this stuff is not going to change until we change it. And that's not going to be done at a ballot box. It's going to be done in the streets. It's the only way. There is no nation in the history of history that has ever ceded power willingly back to the people. Not one time ever in the history of history has a government ceded power back to the people. It's always had to been taken back every single time. And I don't know if we're just a mass amount of people bullshitting ourselves that it's going to be different this time. No, it ain't. Everybody's going to suffer until we all get it figured out. That's one of the things that grinds my gears. Being near the top of that learning curve sucks. Sucks. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't want to live a life of not knowing. If I could just say, I don't want to know about any of this stuff anymore, I just want to be blissfully stupid. I wouldn't want to do that. But could I possibly not quite know as much? This shit got old 10 years ago. Anyway, Did I read a little bit of that? No, I didn't, I don't think. Chinese President Xi Jinping will travel to Moscow for a meeting with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in the coming months, the Wall Street Journal claimed on Tuesday. Reports of the trip come as Beijing looks to take a leading role in resolving the conflict in Ukraine. The visit will take place sometime in April or early May, the American newspaper said, citing people familiar with the plan. The sources claim that Xi will use the summit with Putin to push for multi-party peace talks aimed at ending the fighting in Ukraine. Successive rounds of peace talks failed last year, with Kiev abruptly withdrawing from negotiations in Istanbul in April. Russian officials and others elsewhere have claimed that Western powers pressured Ukraine into abandoning the talks despite an agreement being close at hand. I would say that was accurate, but wouldn't that be a kicker? Seriously. Imagine that for an outcome. Xi Jinping gets involved in peace talks between Ukraine and Russia, resulting in a ceasefire, an ending of hostilities, an agreement made about borders. You know, if the game is about winning the hearts and the minds of the people, just saying. Serbia warns that everyone is preparing for war. I figured that this was probably a notable thing to pay attention to. It says Serbia's military industry has ramped up production of weapons and ammunition to keep up with skyrocketing demand driven by the conflict in Ukraine, President Alexander Vučić said on Tuesday. Visiting the IDEX weapons fair in UAE, Vučić said the world is like preparing for war. So is that like SHOT Show, but on the national level, I guess, right? SHOT Show, but like with the really big guns, you know? That must be nice. That's literally how ridiculous it is. I don't know. I see it as ridiculous. Maybe people are desensitized to it, but to me it seems pretty damned ridiculous that they have these big arms shows, right, where nations can come and talk with private corporations about how to most effectively kill people. I mean, shouldn't we kind of prevent that kind of shit to begin with? You know, I mean, YouTube will nix your ass for loading a 30-round magazine in an AR-15. That is how damned ridiculous this is. They can go and talk about the best weapons that'll take out a city block. Anyway, let me continue on. Everyone needs ammunition. Me too. Everyone is buying everything. Anything we make, or anything we can make, gets sold, Vučić said. I don't know how some of this stuff hasn't ended up on the battlefields of Ukraine yet. Oh, well, that's a nice thought. We can't keep shit on the shelf, but it ain't going to the war effort. Maybe we might want to find out where it's going. Maybe. Anyway, demand for things like rockets for Grad multiple launcher systems has gone up by 70%. Well, yeah, I want one that much more too. The Serbian president added, noting that Belgrade is looking to expand some of its ammunition production since it's all spoken for. Ammunition is selling like hotcakes, Vučić said. Man, it's just insane. Really, truly is. You know, any country that really wanted peace would bomb. They would bomb these meetings and be like, look, We all say we want peace. These people are getting together to talk weapons about how they could terrorize and kill people in other countries. They must be terrorists. I don't know. Crazy thought, I guess, but to me it's just messed up. Don't get it. Don't get it. Moscow. I thought this was funny. Moscow provided no security guarantees to Biden. Well, they ain't gonna knock him out of the air, but I just thought that was funny. Well, you can fly in there, but you know, shit happens. Anyway, it says Moscow offered no security guarantees to U.S. President Joe Biden during a surprise visit to Kiev on Monday. The head of the Russian Federal Security Service, Alexander Boltonkov, told journalists on Tuesday. Washington did tell Moscow about the visit, though, he added. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev had earlier spoken about safety guarantees for the U.S. leader from Russia as he commented on the visit. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan also told reporters on Monday that Washington had informed Russia about the visit in advance for deconfliction purposes. He did not provide any details about the Russian response. And, you know, as I've previously said on this is just something they do. It was kind of funny how the American media put it out there, kind of like it was the United States throwing their weight around, letting Russia know we're coming. No, that's exactly why you do it. That's the perfect terminology. Deconfliction purposes, right? That way they know. That way there's not some incident that winds up being a mountain that could have been a molehill. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's see that they see some Western jets flying around in the air, and so they send jets in to intercept or whatever, and turn on the air defense systems and all that stuff. And the next thing you know, Air Force One gets knocked out of the sky, not because they wanted to take out the President of the United States, but because there was U.S. fighter or Western fighter jets flying around in the sky. You know, that's what I'm talking about. So that's why they do it, because no government would want to walk into that. I mean, that would suck, because there would have to be a response, right? Accident or not, if Putin took out Biden, stop smiling, stop laughing. It's not funny, that's not nice. But if Putin took out Biden, you know damn well there'd be a response. And it wouldn't be the laughing and no. Well, okay, most of the country, yes, would be laughing and okay, right. But militarily there would be a response. Okay, I know they would be laughing too. Procedurally, work with me here. Procedurally, we would. Oh no, that's out the window too. Oh, hell's Biden. Air Force what? Sorry. No, I'm not. That was fun. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. It's so horrible that I can even joke like that. I mean, it's just, it's. China tests Phantom space strike missile technology, says media. This is a little bit concerning. Let me just read what they say. Chinese military engineers have developed a space-based method of overwhelming sophisticated missile defense systems, according to a local media report. The tactic has yet to be tested in real life, where scientists warn it could lead to unintentional nuclear war. In a computer simulation, researchers with China's People's Liberation Army launched a ballistic missile into space, where it released 3 small spacecraft high above the Earth's atmosphere. These spacecraft then sent false signals back to ground-based missile warning radars, spoofing them into thinking that many more missiles were inbound. The radar stations responded by launching interceptor missiles toward the non-existent warheads. The research paper was published in the Chinese language Journal of Electronics and Information Technology earlier this month, the South China Morning Post reported on Monday. The team of scientists said that they designed their spacecraft to fool multiple radar stations at once by operating within these sites' margin of error. The simulation could be easily scaled up to include more spacecraft, they said, which could overwhelm a sophisticated missile defense network and open an adversary up to a follow-up attack with real missiles. There are many more details we do not discuss in this paper, the team wrote. The breakthrough comes despite Beijing's repeatedly stated position that it opposes the militarization of space. The Chinese government has accused the U.S. of stonewalling a space arms control initiative led by China and Russia, and of further aggravating the trend of turning outer space into a weapon and battlefield. Unlikely the U.S., however, China does not formally designate space as a war-fighting domain, and the latest research is unlikely to ever be used against peer-level adversaries such as the U.S., a space scientist in Beijing told the South China Morning Post. This phantom space force is never likely to be put to use against a powerful opponent, the scientist said, citing the risk of nuclear retaliation as radars show fake warheads raining down. Instead, he claimed, it will serve as a strategic deterrence. And, you know, I get that. That's a hell of a good plan. If you could do that, that would totally screw up your enemy. Totally screw them up. So who knows? Who knows? I think that they've been playing with weapons of this sort, and I'm not speaking about just China, but all the nations, I think have been playing with weapons of this sort for a really long time. I don't think this stuff is new. In fact, I know it's not new. I mean, the Star Wars project was with Reagan in the 80s. I mean, come on. All right. One more article, and then we got some headlines. I haven't even been looking over here tonight. Sorry. Oh, fun. Let's see. Okay, Pentagon server leaked for weeks, says a researcher. Well, that's nice to know. U.S. Defense Department left 3 terabytes, it's just a little bit of data, 3 terabytes of internal military emails unprotected by so much as a password on Microsoft's Azure government cloud for more than 2 weeks, security researcher Anurag Sin revealed to TechCrunch on Sunday. The vulnerability was finally patched on Monday, a day after the outlet contacted U.S. Special Operations Command, just SOCOM, to alert it that years of sensitive personal data on a server comprising part of an internal mailbox system was freely available to view for anyone who had the right IP address. Well, isn't that special? The Pentagon confirmed via a senior official on Monday that it had passed the information from TechCrunch on to U.S. SOCOM. In addition to internal military email messages, some of which were years old, the server contained plenty of sensitive personal information, including the detailed forms filled out by federal employees applying for security clearances. These 136-page questionnaires, known as SF-86, are desirable enough to foreign rivals that Washington believes Chinese hackers stole millions of them upon breaking into the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. Well, if I go by the story, I don't think they had to break in. They were probably invited in if it was anything like January 6th, but we're not talking about that tonight. None of the information on the exposed server was believed to be classified, unlike the documents all over the lower 48 states from the Biden family. It was unclear why the server was not password protected, though a spokesman for U.S. SOCOM told TechCrunch in an email that we can confirm at this point no one hacked the U.S. Special Operation Command's information systems. No, we didn't make it that hard for them. We just gave them the open file. The spokesman did not answer when asked if the Defense Department kept logs that would show who besides Sin might have accessed the sensitive data, but said that China had plenty of time to get as much information as they wanted. But said that the investigation into the vulnerability had been opened on Monday. When they'll find out that China had plenty of time. We're worried about spy balloons? Insanity. Okay. Have me a few vapes. We'll do some headlines. Run out the door. I have to run out the door. I gotta take trash out. So while I'm out there, I'll throw my arms in the air and scream the end is nigh. Because, why waste the trip? Come to think of it, I do got some empty boxes I'm throwing away, so I could make myself a sign. Oh, man. Sorry. All right. Let's see. U.S. thwarts UN resolution on Israel, says media. Taiwan boosting military ties with Washington, says president. China said it can now power almost every home with clean energy. Maersk, I don't know how to pronounce that. I think it's something like Maersk. Sells logistics sites in Russia, says a report. EU nation wants Russian oil capped at $30 a barrel, says Bloomberg. $30 a barrel? Really? Yeah. But that's not going to get passed down to the consumer, right? You're just going to boast about how you have even more record profits? Thought so. Trump reveals how he would end Ukraine conflict. Zelensky commanding U.S. military, says Congresswoman. Pretty much seems like it. Japan cordons off beach due to mystery ball. Poor man and his elephantitis of the nuts, and everybody's talking about his mystery. Never mind. Baltic nation urges West to cross red lines on Ukraine. I probably crossed a few red lines for doing the show tonight. Good. I'm telling you. Damn good thing I'm not in control of the button. Alright. Let's see. EU prolongs Russia sanctions. Russia suspends key nuclear treaty with U.S. And I know I mispronounced nuclear. Nuclear. Let's see. West playing with stacked deck, says Putin. Well, I don't recommend you have a meeting with Biden and start talking about your deck, because he's gonna sniff you, and it's not gonna be good. Next thing you know, you'll be in the shower with him, and he'll be leaving classified documents on the bathroom vanity. Oh my gosh, I better stop, because that's going to wind up a porno movie now. Putin and Biden. Stop, Mike, stop. Just do the news, man. Do the news. Focus, son. Germany to double down on renewable energy, says an official. West doesn't care who uses it or who it uses to fight Russia, says Putin. Putin explains why he launched offensive in Ukraine. Because he felt more than defensive, I guess. Western sanctions on Russia failed, says Putin. U.S. dollar to lose global dominance, says Putin. Kiev fears U.S. pressure to strike deal with Russia, says Politico. Sky News host reduced to fit of laughter by Biden video. Oh, it was hilarious. It is hilarious. So they were doing the story about how the White House doctor gave him a clean bill of health. And they were playing video clips that showed that the man clearly wasn't even coherent. And it was good. She couldn't contain it. I mean, and the problem is, I mean, we sit and we laugh about that, but that's how these other nations are looking at our country right now. And that's not good. We have never looked so stupid and weak in the history of this nation as we do right now. Not a good spot. China unveils global security paper. Russian court rules on first sabotage case since start of Ukraine operation. Russia issues warning about future of Ukraine conflict. Putin reveals conditions for widening Ukraine operation. A decision on LGBT blessing splits Anglican Church. Let's see. No Russian felt sorry for oligarchs losing palaces and yachts abroad, says Putin. Russian president comments on 2024 vote. Alec Baldwin charges downgraded in Rust shooting. So, yeah, his charges have been downgraded. Isn't that special? Putin accuses NATO of direct involvement in attacks on Russia. Moscow summons U.S. ambassador. Oh, got a number one up there. Ooh. Yeah, well, that ain't good. I mean, just more banter, but still. Putin reveals Russia's grain supply plans. Putin tells Russian businesses where the future lies. NATO reacts after Moscow puts major nuclear accord on ice. Yeah, it's probably much less entertaining than even Disney on ice, but DeSantis takes aim at Biden over Ukraine. China cover that. Museum makes U-turn on colonialistic painting. Let's see. UK fintech firm may have a Russia problem, says The Guardian. Soviet-style retro-futurist game top sales chart amid controversy. Russia's key ally moves to extend the death penalty. Biggest European clothing polluters in Kenya revealed. China presented key elements of peace plan to Ukraine, says Kiev. Ukraine bans former president's party. And see, the U.S. government wants you to get behind a government like that. Literally a dictatorship-style government. And the United States government wants you to stand behind that. Angry Birds developer will delist iconic game from Google Play. Let's see. Big difference between arming Ukraine and Russia, says Burrell. No, not really. 6 people, including children, die in major fire in Moscow. Evidence of U.S. guilt for Nord Stream more than a smoking gun, says Russia. State Department globalist responsible for Ukraine coup, says Trump. Putin introduces bill to suspend major nuclear treaty. That's the actual announcement that he's doing it. U.S. town hit by 4th train derailment in 10 months. See what I'm saying? I mean, why is that not as shocking as what some people think it might need to be? Because there's probably a serious problem with the tracks there. So that's why there's a number of events that's happened there in the last 10 months. So, is the infrastructure in this nation old and failing? Yeah, and then some. Are they going to do anything about it? Nah. No, they're going to continue to run everything into the ground, to get everything they can, to squeeze every dime they can out of this nation. And then they'll be done. Ukraine's neighbor wants Russian peacekeepers out. And lastly, China names U.S. as top disruptor. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy where this country is compared to where it used to be. Even just in my lifetime alone. That is a pretty damn strong nation when I was born in 72. We were, in my opinion, at that particular time, for the most part, we were at least still on our way up. And it seems, in my opinion, that in the 80s is when we hit that apogee. That's when NAFTA and all of that and the whole free trade nonsense, which what? Oh, it's free trade, all right. They were selling you out to other nations for pretty much free. Yeah, it was free trade. It traded us for nothing. And being that the United States was such a strong, powerful machine, it took a really, really, really long time to bring it down. And what I think is incredible is how much strength the nation still had in it at the beginning of COVID. And to even imagine that it could even remotely keep limping along after all of that, it's pretty impressive. But the scary part is it would take twice the amount of effort to get ourselves back to where we were. That's a scary thought. Anyway, that's all I got. I am tired. I want my pillow. I want a teddy bear. I don't have a teddy bear. Blue, gonna have to fire the dog. She's supposed to snuggle. We got her. We told her that was part of the deal, that she snuggles. No. She sold us out too. It's a damn shame. You know, I go to bed, right? Anybody goes to bed, you go to bed, you want to go to bed, right? You lay down, you want to go to bed, you close your eyes, you go to sleep. That's how it works, right? It's how it's supposed to work. I've got insomnia, so you may go to sleep. I stare and blink at the ceiling for the next 2.5 hours and then maybe fall asleep. But anyway, during that time, we have this dog, okay? And every night, as I close everything up, close the curtains, shut lights off, and we go to bed, I let her outside. Why? Because that's what you frickin' do with a dog, right? When you go to bed, you let them outside so they can do their potty. And she'll go out there, and most of the time she'll spend 10, 15, 20 minutes out there. And I just let her out there as long as she's not barking. Other times she goes out 2 seconds and I gotta bring her ass back in. But you can guarantee every night that I'm gonna let her out. She goes out. She goes potty. She has enough time to go potty 10 times. Let her in. She gets her treat. I lay down in bed. And you would think, all is well. It's time to go to bed. Nope. Every night, she has to come back in the bedroom and give me a stare down until I let her out again so she can potty again. And her little ass the last 2 nights has been trying to get me to let her out yet another time, and that ain't happening. That ain't happening. I draw the line. I draw the line at the game as it is. I love that dog. In a million years, I could never explain to you how intelligent that dog is, how ornery that dog is, and how much fun that dog is. She is an absolutely incredible dog. I mean, just incredible. But have a lot of fun, that's for sure. Anyway, I am out of here. I'm tired. I want to sleep. God willing, I'll talk to you all tomorrow. So I hope to see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.